You're listening to Me and Paranormal You with your host, Ryan Singer. It's more fun to believe. Third year bonus.
Very good then. Very good then. Hello, this is Nigel, the producer of the Mindcast, Me and Paranormal You with Ryan Singer. I'd just like to let you know that in no way do I take responsibility for the low output volume on the last couple episodes, the third year bonuses. Ryan had forgotten to attach something called a cloud lifter, which is in fact a fascinating name for the new microphone he's been using. I am not with Ryan in physical space. I remotely, from an undisclosed location, do help Ryan with the Mindcast, and he has forgotten one of the key components to using his equipment. After 10 plus years of recording a podcast, he still doesn't understand the exact way to do something. It's quite frustrating. I could elaborate on my frustrations, but I will be quibbling all night long about these things, and I'll choose not to do that. He's got a call-in guest coming in tonight at an unexpected time. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the tech side of that, the technical aspects of using a Zoom call and then incorporating it into the final edit. That'll be my job as producer and editor of the Mindcast. Nonetheless, we over here at the Outside Minds family, hope you're doing well. And if you don't know what that is, Outside Minds is the name of it's the conglomeration that is the giant umbrella that Me and Paranormal You falls underneath. See, Outside Minds Network. Ryan will be launching his live stream show at some point as soon as he gets settled, as soon as he drops anchor down and finds a place to, have his mutton and stew. But in the meantime, everybody here at Outside Minds at Home Network wishes you the best. Now let's, without further ado, I'm not going to let him chime in. He's trying to chime in. I've got him muted right now. I'm not going to let him do that. People don't want to hear us talking over each other. It's not what this is about. So without further ado, let's get to the program, shall we?
Well, thank you, Nigel. I appreciate that. Even though you did have me muted and I had things to say. I had opinions to spew. I had conflagrations to light a fire. But thank you, Nigel. Yes, everybody over here at Outside Minds Network, we do appreciate everyone who's listening. I know I've been a little sporadic, and Nigel has been quite upset with me not keeping a regular schedule. The success of any podcast is wholly dependent on a regular release schedule. That is something I have not done for a couple of years, so I apologize. The pandemic just kind of said, schedule's out the window. I'll stop talking in my colloquial way. So I hope this volume is better. I wasn't using my cloud lifter. Thank God for Dan Lindholm letting me know that the volume had just been very low on the last few. I didn't realize that the commercials would be super loud and my voice would be and then the commercial, and I have no idea what the commercials are. I don't condone nor condemn these commercials because I don't know what they are. Just know you can hit the fast forward button. I'm pretty sure. I'm not reading any of the commercials. That's when I'm really on board with something. Is if you hear me reading the commercial for it. You've heard me do that in the past. That's when you know that I'm all on board with one of the sponsors or who may be sponsoring a few episodes here and there. That's if you don't hear my voice, it doesn't have my stamp of approval necessarily. So I am in Los Angeles, beautiful Los Angeles, California. I have been making myself do epic hikes. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have to leave town again. And I wasn't planning on it, and I don't necessarily like the idea that much, but I'm doing it. I'm leaving town because of the Tesla into the apartment situation. there is no timeline for the apartment to be fixed still. It's been a month since that poor unfortunate soul ran his Tesla into the apartment, and there's just no prognostication for when that will be resolved. Luckily for me, come mid July-ish through early September, I will be on the road steady Eddie, performing stand-up comedy. My variation of the art form of stand-up comedy in various cities throughout this great country of ours. As I prepare to record a new album and potentially film a new comedy special. I'm very excited about the material, and I think there's some newer bits that I haven't even been fully formed yet that will probably end up in there that I'm also very excited about. So I hope you come see a stand-up comedy show. I'm going to be in Santa Cruz on Thursday. Oh boy, I'm so excited to perform at the Brookdale Lodge. My buddy DNA set that up. I'm going up a night early. Patrons, I'm going to put this up on Wednesday afternoon just so you know. Not a normal day for me to release, but I will be doing a paid patron only. You can be a free patron. You can go over to the patreon.com/Ryan Singer. You can be a free member over there. Every once in a while, I will post stuff for everybody, for free members as well. So feel free to go over there. And then there's $1, and then there's $3. Those are the main tiers right now. You can go above that. You can go to 11. You can go to, I'm telling you, some people's generosity is overwhelming, and I appreciate it. So we're keeping the show afloat. But I'll be doing a live paid patron only live stream from the Brookdale Lodge tomorrow night, which will be Wednesday, June 5th. So on 6/5/2024, around 11 p.m., roughly 11 p.m. Pacific time, from the Brookdale Lodge in the beautiful and the creepy Santa Cruz Mountains, I will be doing a live stream from the Brookdale Lodge, which apparently has two famous ghosts. So, ironically, one of them is named Sarah, a little girl named Sarah, which is also the name of probably the most famous ghost that allegedly haunts Poasttown Elementary School. So, I'm going to try to find out if Sarah knows Sarah. And then there's another one. But we'll see what else is there. Because who knows? Al Capone used to use this place. I mean, I love those kind of things. It used to be a brothel or, speakeasies or whatever. In Lake Arrowhead, there's also that famous location as well. So, with the underground tunnels and all that good stuff. I love, I'm not saying... Karen Rontowski and I have this conversation about being a rule follower. There's certain things that I love I need to get Karen back on the show. It's been too long since Karen's been on the show. We had a conversation about being a rule follower. It wasn't all that long ago. And how we just not really a rule follower necessarily. Now, there's certain rules that I adhere to and that I greatly appreciate. And, I do like coloring inside the lines, oftentimes in many, many aspects of my life. And there's certain rules, obviously, that not every law is just, right, as they say. It's a famous thing from something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, what am I talking about? Following rules or something? Oh, the rules of podcasting. You got to post it. You got to post the same time every week. I used to do that, and I haven't done it in a while. And I've been all over the place. That's going to happen. Once I get settled back in, I'll be able to really define a new set schedule, and also depending on the vision moving forward. I've got lots of ideas swirling around. I want to revisit an idea I initially called Lab Rat that I tried to sell as a TV show years ago, where I go deep dive into different kind of mystery schools one by one, and do kind of investigative journalist style podcasts, or I just let you know what's going on. Like maybe I go join the Freemasons here in Los Angeles and Culver City, or maybe I get really deep into the maybe some theosophy online classes, and start doing the retreats and things like that. Fun stuff. Like that. So, and just to see if I then I get into Reiki. I gotta go through Reiki. I'll do all these, just trying to accumulate. And it's like a video. If life is a video game, I'm trying to get all the superpowers. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get all the tools. I'm getting all the keys to unlock the hidden doors and the superpowers to do the things. I'm already still. Well, shoot. I'm not going to go into that because I haven't gotten into it. And I'm not going to go into it because I haven't gotten into it. What does that even mean? What it means is I was going to talk about George Monroe, and I haven't had a chance to read his books yet. I'm looking very much forward to getting settled in eventually, which probably won't happen till September sometime, and really be able to kind of clear my thoughts and get organized. If you're anything like me, you don't need a rigid schedule necessarily to be successful or to succeed in what you're doing. But there are certain projects that I do. I can write anywhere. I can write at any coffee shop or library or place around the country or the world for that matter. That's not a big deal. I can read under any tree or on any beach in the world, right? I can do things like that. But when it comes to video editing fits, I haven't given you an update on that in a minute because there isn't an update because I've just been moving so much. Boom, 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 couch to bed to couch. Bouncing around, seeing friends I haven't seen in a long time, trying to get back into, my life, but then, hence, or not hence, but can't get back into life quite yet. So we're going to hit the pause button on the life stuff and get back to work. So, oh shit, I got somebody joining me here. It's a 30-year bonus, but with a guest. Can you believe it? Are you able to sustain your disbelief for just a moment and believe that? Oh my goodness gracious! I'm sure he'll alert me when he arrives. I'm gonna Matthew Jackson. I hit him up. I'm like, you want to pop in, baby? And Evil Logoville, R.I.P. Evil Logoville. Matthew Jackson agreed to pop on in because we're gonna talk about something very special. Because I think we can finally talk about it. And I'm very excited about the idea of being able to finally talk about the ITC device that we've been using in Florida. We used it in January. We used it again this past May. And we will be more than likely using it again roughly September, October time frame or whenever that is, that we shall be returning to the location in beautiful, beautiful Florida. Oh, that just reminds me. Shit. I've been making my brother's birthday. We're planning a trip to Vegas. So I might be double booking myself as I think about this right now. Okay, I'll worry about that later. But there's lots of things going on in the paranormal world, but more importantly, there's lots of things going on in everyone's life. And I am happy to report that 2024 in one aspect, in one very specific minor aspect, has not been the nightmare that I anticipated, because there's too many other large nightmares unfolding across the world, that the nightmare that is the American political system is taking a back seat to all of those things. And some might argue differently. I guess it depends on what you pay your attention to. If your attention was coins or dollar bills, what machines are you feeding for product, etc. Now, the world of the paranormal is becoming more accepted and is becoming more okay. The reason I say that is because I am made to feel crazy less often than I used to. Now, is this a good measuring stick? I'm not so sure that's a great measuring stick for what we're talking about here, but it is nice. Do you hear that loud bass? I'm right on the street here. Anyway, so the world of the paranormal is becoming more accepted. I think more and more people are opening their minds to the idealistic nature or the potential idealistic nature of the universe. And why do I say that? Oh, did Matthew Jackson jump in? There he is. Wait, let me change the audio here. You're coming through my, and I'm not recording over there yet. So people are not going to be able to hear me talking to you right now. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do this. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. I got it. I figured it out. Tell Nigel I figured it out. Hey, buddy. What's up? Matthew Jackson joining the show.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, thanks for joining me on like the absolute shortest of all notices I've ever given
Hey,
anyone.
you got me with clothes on, so we're good.
Okay, well, actually, that's a shame. Now, everyone knows Matthew Jackson is a studly man. So, it's good to see you, buddy. We haven't really chatted about what I want to chat to you about here today, since a drive back from Florida in May. So I'm kind of springing all this on you. I also want to, obviously, we've been messaging about other things, but I want to talk about what we can talk about, which I think is a lot regarding the device. And potentially maybe, some tidbits here and there about the actual, the latest expedition, the latest phase of the expedition, down in Florida.
Sure, I'm up for it, man.
Okay, so you'll have to, and shout out to Joshua Sean, by the way, 0G ITC. How much of this are we allowed to talk about right now?
I think we can safely talk about. We can talk about the name of it. We can talk about some of the theories behind it, and some of the results that we've gotten. I mean, as of I believe tomorrow, it's going to be done. It'll never be done, but it's going to be full on what we've been working for. So really exciting stuff in the world.
That's really exciting. And I think one of the really exciting aspects of this is just having been a part of being fortunate enough to be one of the users. It's just mind blowing. And so we're talking about PRISM. And PRISM actually makes its world debut for the public coming up pretty soon too, because I'm going to be putting this out tomorrow as of the recording of this, right? So this will be coming out on Wednesday, June 5th. Okay. And so I believe that's 17 days out in front of its world premiere. Am I right about that?
June 21st is the actual premiere where a live audience is going to get their eyes on it for the first time. And then we're really going to start cranking out some of the materials and content that we've acquired through the prototype and testing phase. And then moving forward, it's going to be the full bore, the machine. So pretty excited.
Yeah. And so what's the name of the conference again?
It's the Haunted America Conference. It's one of the longest running paranormal conferences in the United States. It's put on by Troy Taylor, who's authored like 150 books. I mean, he's a prolific writer, but he started the conference in one of the most haunted little towns in the United States, which is Alton, Illinois, which St. Louis has kind of eventually swallowed up. And it's just cool. It's such a cool conference. I've never seen anything like it. It's way more like education based than just flea market, not to be disparaging, but and it's not full of like TV celebrities either. It's like researchers, authors, and it's a cool event to be a part of. Lots of great workshops and events.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way that sounds. Now, listen, I also love TV celebrities. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, because a lot of them do actually have earnest interest in research and, are heartfelt investigators, and they're there trying to do what they can. And we're all, and as someone who, is involved in that industry, it's, we're powerless at the power of the producers, the executive producers and the network. But
it's not like celebrity centric, I guess I should say. And because there have been some that have been there. So I should clarify that.
And it's, I'm telling you, I mean, I told this story before. I think we've talked about it when I did Alien Con, and I think it was 2017. What is that? Ancient Aliens Conference. The first year they put on their own conference called Alien Con. whenever what's his name? God damn it. Wow, I'm blanking on the guy. Giorgio. Whenever
Yeah,
Giorgio showed up
yeah.
into like the main gymnasium area or wherever where all the booths and stuff were set up, you heard people yelling and screaming. It was bonkers, dude. It was like so funny. Like you hear
Keep the lows.
Giorgio, Giorgio. Yeah, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, like a paranormal rock star. It was really fun. So
that's
the
great.
so Prism is going to be making its debut on the 21st,
Yeah.
and you're going to be allowing people to interact with it, or is it just going to?
Yeah, I've been trying to work out the logistics of how we're going to do it, but I'm doing a workshop, an after-hours workshop at the iconic Mineral Springs Hotel, which is a famous haunted location here in the U.S. And there's a lot of big spaces in this building and some ballrooms and so forth. And we're going to be set up in one of the bigger rooms, and so there's going to be quite a few people there. I think the workshop is almost sold out. And so I think it'd be fun to, since it is a workshop, to try to have a way with the audience to interact with Prism. And I'm thinking about maybe just having people write down questions and maybe do something as simple as put them in a fishbowl type, sort of, and like randomly pull them out and dial in Prism and see if we can get a response. So I have no idea what to expect, but it should be a really kind of a wow of a time. So it should be fun.
That's wild, and it sounds awesome. And it turns out I'm going to be in the Midwest unexpectedly. And I'm going to do my damnedest to get over here,
Man,
to
I would
get
love.
over there. So,
Yeah, I was
21st.
telling Ed if I was telling our buddy Ed Brown if he could show up, he needs to like go in my workshop and testify. And so if you're there, I can have like two witnesses.
Dude, I will testify.
Yeah,
I will testify. And Ed
yeah,
also, Ed has been converted to the
okay.
point now where Ed is so in on the paranormal side of life
Uh-huh.
that, I feel like Bigfoot has filed for divorce. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Bigfoot had divorce papers delivered to Ed Brown because he's so into the paranormal. But I mean, I think that's what happens when you have, first of all, you already have an interest in it, like Ed already did and was already
Yeah.
doing stuff in the paranormal. And then on top of that, has some pretty big experiences. And
Mm,
then, especially with Prism, a really big experience that was personalized to a degree that I don't think he was
mhm.
ready for. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, testify, I feel like is the right word.
Can I get a witness?
Mm.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great time. I mean, regardless, even if I wasn't involved in the conference, I would go and attend after being there once. It's like it's an event. If you're interested in the paranormal, you really should not miss. It is great.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to come out. And
Yeah.
I've decided. Although, okay, and I got so it's in the St. Louis area. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Mhm.
And I think I know people who own couches in St. Louis. So
There
it's
you
like,
go.
yeah, luckily for me, I know people in almost every city who usually have a couch. But well, that's really cool. So, and that's on June 21st. So that's just a couple weeks
The
away,
workshop.
really.
Yeah, the conference actually starts. It's kind of a Friday evening, Saturday all day long event, and Sunday there's like an optional breakfast you can do with like Troy, but the majority of everything happens on Friday evening and Saturday all day and Saturday night.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, wham bam. I like that.
Mhm.
The okay, cool, cool. And that's the God, why am my memory is shot. It's the American Paranormal Conference,
The Haunted America.
the Haunted America Conference.
Yeah.
And
You remember my human skeleton?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking the skeleton with me to Alton because Troy has opened up the museum in Alton. It's actually in the Mineral Springs. It's called the American Oddities Museum. And I'm donating my skeleton to the museum because he's going to set up a display, I believe, where he's going to talk about the use of ritual skeletons and, old fraternities in America and the business of skeletonizing people. So I'm
shit, I
happy
lost
that
your
my
audio
skeleton.
there. Sorry.
I was
Give me 1 second here. Just shot out. This has happened to me one other time. We're going to be right back with Matthew Jackson. Matt, I'm going to close out, and then let's just click on the link again. Okay, we're back. I don't know why that happened. That's and also I'm using my hotspot on my phone, so because there's no Wi-Fi when I'm at, so that could be a thing. So okay, we're back with Matt Jackson. So we're going to be doing a demonstration. You're going to be doing a demonstration. Is Joshua going to be there?
No, he will not be. April Slaughter will be though.
Oh, okay, that would be great. I'd love to meet April.
Yeah, April is she is the whole basis of the workshop was ITC and spirit mediumship, and her being a medium. And so just the timing worked out that we're able to unleash Prism at the same time. So it couldn't have worked out better.
That is awesome. So she'll be doing the workshop with you?
Yes.
Oh, that's rad. And okay, yeah. Well, I mean, talk about kicking things up a notch too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really cool. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to Ed too, and I'll see where he's at, and especially if him and Dan Lindholm are together, maybe they'll be able to both swing over. But um, I want to get into the nuts and bolts of Prism a little bit just here because it is such a bonkers device. Now, I would say in my life, well, first of all, I think we need to have some. I definitely have appreciation for all ITC devices that have been developed from the imagination of a researcher or investigator.
Yeah.
None of them would exist without the whimsical, dreamlike fantasies of the investigator to like, let's see if we can do this, right? And whether it's the SP7 or REM pods or all these things, right? They're really cool, and people thought them up and then figured out a way to make them. And I think everybody's experience can be different when using ITC devices. But specifically for me, I know using the Gateway device, Eric Connor's device that he's created, and using the Prism device, those to me are like on my Mount Rushmore ITC devices, and of just kind of like bonkers things happening on personal investigations. And when it comes to the Prism, let's talk about some of the things that really make it so unique.
Well, with me being still in this day and age, kind of a skeptical believer in all things paranormal, I'm always checking myself before I'm wrecking myself, Ryan. So I always that was bad. I always think about, because I've had so much success with ITC over the past 16 years plus probably, and I've had amazing sessions, and I've recorded all kinds of amazing evidence to support the idea that I am conversing with undetermined intelligence that I have just absolutely no idea who I'm truly talking to. But at the same time, when I think about presenting that to people who may not have experienced the moment and the situation with me, I always know that the skeptics are always going to, at the end of the day, default. But it's still getting a radio signal. It's still doing this or still doing that. And so that's the thing with Prism I appreciate so much, because every landmine that a cynic could throw in the way, or a skeptic throw in the path of Prism, it was already thought through before it was the inception. So the thoughtfulness behind this device and everything that Joshua Sean has come up with is really just mind blowing to me, because when I first got my very first response through this device, knowing the inner workings and the code and everything that Josh has developed for this, that's when I had, for the first time in a long time, my moment of, oh shit, this really is real. This is real. So as many minds that are going to get blown from Prism, likely, nobody is probably going to be more mind blown than I still am. So I feel very fortunate to be kind of at the helm of being able to bring this to the public, and it's super exciting. It's the most exciting thing I've ever been a part of as far as like the paranormal goes.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
And it's wild Just yesterday, I'm taking a long ass, like a 7 mile hike through the Verdugo Hills in Southern California, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, maybe I'm just crazy and all this shit ain't real. Right? I'm like having literally a moment like that. And um, it's just every once in a while that like harshly skeptical voice will get to the front of the line and just shout something. It's almost like a heckle from like the deep recess of your mind. And it doesn't
Yeah.
last very long.
Right.
And but so to have those moments, I think, to
Mhm.
I mean, throughout time, at least in the Western world, people have always called it like, oh, a real come to Jesus moment, where it's like, the truth has been presented to someone, right? Is basically at the heart of what we mean when we say that. And when you have these come to ghost moments or whatever, or come to spirit moments, or come to whatever moments, that come to the
Yeah.
paranormal moment, like you're describing, it's it's nice to be reassured, obviously, because we enjoy validation. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, I mean, it's also like it doesn't need us to believe in it, does it?
No, no, not at all. But as far as like someone who is going to be public with their experiences, I like for those things to be very careful and kind of comb through and think about what the people might bring to the table. And so that's the thing with like when you're dealing with Prism and there's no internet connection, there's no word banks programmed into it, there's no radio signals. It's truly a closed circuit system. And so there's no outside influence that we can see that is like manipulating the device, and to have intelligent exchanges with it is just startling. It's shocking, because you everyone could always in the past say it might still be this, but there's no asterisk to Prism, and that's the thing that is just really has me just super fired up about the whole project.
Yeah, that it's. Uh, I mean, I've been excited about it ever since.
And
Or what were we saying?
yeah, well, I mean, and the versatility. I mean, I'm not even ready for the versatility that this thing is going to have. We're going to have so many different like presets that we're going to like have saved that will allow us to like jump back and forth between these great settings. But there's also going to be like a manual mode where I'm going to be able to get in on the fly and kind of create my own sound there on the spot. And so I'm going to get to Captain Kirk this thing if I want to. I just don't have to let it run on its own. I'll be able to actually be hands on with it. So I like the tactile feeling of Prism, like I'm actually, part of the process versus just flipping a switch and walking away.
Yeah, adaptability. And it allows, I think, for a partnership or a union between the user and the device
Hmm.
that makes it a unique experience. And I don't know all the I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the technical aspects of this whatsoever at all. And but I do know this, that it's a mighty, mighty rig that we were using on this last trip. And I don't know how it's going to look in the future and how it's going to be for other people to be able to use their own prism, if in fact that's where this is headed. Is that where this is headed, or is it going to be like a very limited number of setup kind of situations?
It really depends on how much we can convince Ed Brown to bankroll this. No, I think. uh,
He's calling me right now. How much do you need?
yeah. I think ultimately that would be a very obtainable goal would be to create a contained singular device, because the what it's taken to run PRISM now is crazy, and it's even changed pretty dramatically since you saw it in Florida. I mean, what this thing has turned into is just wild. So I can't wait for you to see the full setup now. But yeah, I think eventually PRISM should be able to be shared with the world. So I think down the road that could become an opportunity.
Wow, that's interesting because it's literally only been a month.
Yeah, it's been nonstop. I mean, the back and forth between Josh and I, and some of the things that he's discovered, some of the things that we've had to conquer to rein in some of the sound spectrums. So we've had to adapt on the fly.
Wow. And God, there's so much to talk about regarding the specific investigation that we were using PRISM on now twice. Um and but before we maybe even get into some of that, which I don't know if we will, but using maybe a more discerning ear and eye when it comes to, like you said, sharing your experiences publicly, which is, I'm glad you brought that up, because for me, that is something that when I'm just on a regular investigation with people and I'm not worried about documenting it, like we are specifically in Florida. And because I've gone to Post Town and just kind of, just investigated or whatever. It's totally different for me. And it's because I do feel like you're 100% correct in that. I don't want to be the guy who's presenting a bunch of things in a documentary that are, oh, maybe. I want it to be kind of like, wow, that's very compelling, right? Now, if it's, to be clear, if it's my documentary that I'm kind of at the helm at, or my investigation that I'm kind of, finding myself, not in charge of, but kind of organizing and orchestrating, it is important in the final product for me for it to be very, very compelling stuff. And now, which is, which is fine to show that sometimes you're not getting stuff that's super compelling, but even in the moment it is compelling, but on camera for some reason it might not be as compelling, and which is a strange phenomenon for me. But I do think that is important for if we want to have the wide appeal of from believer to skeptic. Now, if you're only concerned about making things and presenting them to the believers, that's a whole different bag of chips.
Oh, completely. And I've always, when I've focused in the past on just like my Paraholics investigations, I always would think when I would be in my editing process or putting things together, how my videos might come across to a new investigator, a seasoned investigator, and someone that doesn't know what the heck is going on or what they've stumbled in on, or like someone that is for lack of a better term, a paranormal hater. I've always considered those, four different types of people that might be clicking on my video. And by golly, I mean, I've been determined to leave a little bit of something for each one of them. And so I've always been so careful in, choosing my words, my voiceovers, my messaging. And as long as I get one of them to think and reconsider something, I think I've done my job, So that's something I've always been really cautious about. So that's just me though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a great way to look at it though.
Yeah.
I'll do a similar thing with comedy. I try to find, now this is a very dualistic way to look at things, and it's, I want people listening to know it's not accurate, and I don't pretend to understand people's identities and genders, right? But what I'll do is I'll try to find what appears to be a very old man, or the oldest man, the youngest man, the oldest woman, the youngest woman, And I feel like if I'm getting those extremes of the audience, then I'm hitting
Yeah.
everybody, right? So I try to find those four people that I make eye contact with when I'm
Hmm.
on stage, if I remember to do it, which half the time I don't. But so I'm like, okay, if I'm hitting all four of those people, hopefully I'm getting everybody in between as well, right?
Right.
Or outside, or you know what I mean. But I feel like it's a very similar tact that you're taking
Right.
with the way you're presenting evidence.
But with Prism moving forward, I don't care.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
okay, okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. Shoot. Lock the
because
doors. What are we talking
because
about?
I've checked all the boxes. In the past I've presented things that I think are really compelling, interesting, and really hard to debunk in a lot of ways. Even though it's something might be getting a radio signal or whatever. I mean, you've seen my videos, the cabin sessions, and I mean, some of the stuff I've recorded is just nuts. And I mean, if that's not enough to impress everybody, I feel like now with Prism, it's like I'm dropping the big daddy, and I don't feel beholden to anybody anymore. It's like
It's
we're
like you're free.
we're
You're finally free.
yeah, I kind of feel that way because if someone's not going to like Prism for like to me they're just cynical, and you can't do anything with cynics anyway. So, but I think if anyone would actually consider the implications of what Prism existing, what it really means, if that doesn't make them kind of rethink themselves or reset in some manner, I mean, it's not my job to try to reach them.
That's a predetermined outlook that is unmutable.
Right.
Uh, I would probably lean towards that assessment of a situation like that because just and now it's easier for me to say because I've experienced this device
Mhm.
and it's dare I say it is scary for
Yeah.
uh for because I mean, and I've talked about this, I've alluded to it on the show, and I'm still not going to give details now, so I apologize for being that asshole right now to people listening. But if like, and the percentage keeps going down, if 5% of what we think Prism has given us on this Florida investigation is accurate, we
Mhm.
are no way fucking qualified to be able to handle all of this. And at least personally, like, what'd you say? How'd you describe it as like our band of investigators? Like the list.
Oh, when I said a stand-up comic, a hairdresser, and two professional pet transporters going to northern Florida.
Yeah.
That one.
Where they,
It's like what could go wrong. We we
yeah,
got
yeah,
we got it all taken care of.
yeah, we got to handle this. Yeah, yeah, and then throw in
Yeah.
Eric, who's just undefinable by
Oh
nature.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
on top of that, like a rock and roll fucking life, yeah. Anyway, the
yeah, rock star.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
we gotta add the rock
so
star to that.
yeah, you got, and so but it is bonkers. And I've been trying to do research today. I've been trying to go down rabbit holes. I've got a couple different books ordered, and I have to get all of these things read before we get back down there. One of the things I definitely have to read is Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. I have to read both of those books by those authors, by Lukatsky and the guy who wrote them with him. But talking about ATIP and everything like that, because I definitely believe that that we're this there's tie-ins to that happening with what we're discussing here, and just from timelines and things like that, and it just makes too much sense to me. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Prism and it comes to the information that one might be getting and where is it coming from, I mean, we can get confirmation, and we've gotten confirmation because we've asked for confirmation.
Yeah.
um and I just don't know. Like, it's one of those things where so much information has come in that I just don't even know I don't know what the fuck is real anymore, right?
Yeah.
And we went down to Florida, and I was just, being a bastard. And I'm like, I'm gonna talk to portals. I'm gonna talk to port, and I'm still not over that, by the way. But and then I feel like we're either talking to portals, or we're talking to some intelligence that is intimately aware of the nature of portals. and while we're there. And
Mhm.
and not only that, it spans all the technology from old to new, from
Yeah.
PRISM to dowsing rods. We're getting essentially the same response, which to me is layered fucking extravaganza cake of paranormal delight of dessert, and it's bonkers.
I love the juxtaposition of Prism and us also going to dowsing rods. I mean,
Yeah,
all that and everything in between was just so interesting because I still love ghost boxes. I still love REM pods. I mean, I'm not like walking away from all that or discarding it in any way, but I mean, I think everything has a place. And so I just thought that was really wild. I will take a technique that's thousands of years old and then combine it with, something super modern. It's just really, really, really cool.
it is really cool. And I don't know. I mean, one of my biggest excitable moments on that whole last trip outside of the Prism stuff was a millimeter with REM pod on it, built in. I
Yeah.
mean that's how we were getting direct responses about size, location, and other details about the portal that we were talking to, in one instance. And to me, it shows us something very profound, and that is that paranormal phenomena, the intelligence behind it, has an adaptability, and it has God, what do they call it? Being flexible in thought and communication styles, something that can communicate highly effective across a bunch of different types of medium is something that I would consider highly intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if you've said anything to your listeners about even the scrying experiment we did. And so even taking the scrying and the experiences we all had with that and put that next to Prism and the EVP sessions and so forth is just it is highly adaptable. And sometimes I wonder if certain tech and or certain techniques hit the paranormal at different levels. Like, I almost feel like Prism is like attaining like a higher, I don't know, sentience or whatever than you might be able to get with, just a recorder or like an old fashioned ghost box or something. I mean, because the level of difference, like we experienced with Prism while we were down there with outside the Sugar Shack doing this session that sounded like we were in a rowdy bar and like literally spirits shushing each other in conversation as they're, because it's like open mic night down there. And then for us to turn around and go into the living room of the property owners, and I think all of us walked away with like it was like we had a sense of reverence. It was like we were in church. Everything was much more quieter and polite. There weren't Bud Light bottles getting broken over anybody's heads like down at the Sugar Shack. It was just like a totally different vibe. And then some of the messages, of course, we got there. It's just like this is something different that I have never encountered with any ITC experiment that I've ever had. So it was definitely one for the record books for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's something very interesting to remember. The
Yeah.
fact that when it was just us, it was like all kinds of bad words, basically, just kind of telling us to get fucked. And
Yeah.
then we go inside, and Carolyn's around,
Yeah.
and everybody's on their best damn behavior. And that is really something that cannot be overlooked, I think, on the bigger scope of this investigation, and also being inside the actual house of her and Bill.
Mhm.
And I think that obviously they, they live there, they have a great appreciation for their home and for their land and for everything that is happening.
Yeah.
And with that, it definitely has the sense that much like us to a certain degree, when we're there, when we're in the house, we're cleaning up after ourselves. We're making sure, all this, but then when we're out in the woods, we're just carrying on and being a bunch of jackasses, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
because we know we're guests.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that everything there, for the most part, not everything, but a lot of it, most of it, understands, at least what we're communicating with through the prism, understands that they are guests, specifically
Mhm.
when we're in the house using it. And there's a reason why there's a tone change, complete tone change.
Yeah. Even when I was there the first visit and I did the Prism session by myself, and we got, the stuff that like changed Ed Brown's life and and things like that, it still was a pretty, polite session. There was no vulgarities or anything like that. And it seemed like it was speaking to me out of like genuine concern and wanting to help in some manner, which was really interesting. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
And the only profanity from that very first session that you did was from you and me reviewing it with headphones on, just in the corner of the house yelling, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
That was the profanity that only, it was
Yeah.
resultant. Can we label a new term? Resultant profanity, uh, from the device. I mean, it's bonkers. I don't know where the future for Prism goes, but I almost see everybody has a Prism device in their pod and they can communicate with all of their ancestors or the aliens or whoever, like everybody. It's almost like the Jetsons communication radio device or whatever. Like you'll be able to communicate with the past, the future, the dead, the alive. Like I feel like
Yeah.
everybody's just got a Prism in their house.
That's what Oprah's going to give away. I mean,
Yeah.
And you get
Can
a
you
Prism.
imagine? Yeah, and Oprah will have been dead for 100 years at this point, but she's still got a show through the Prism. It is really cool to think about the future in regards to ITC and specifically the closed system that Prism is, and being able to, avoid all of those landmines and those bombs, those grenades that the skeptic wants to throw or drop towards the purported evidence that we receive through intelligent response.
And that's the sorry, the phone was screaming at me and I haven't plugged in the charger. The the kind of the forefather of Prism, so to speak, would be just the researchers, especially European researchers, who for years, and they still do, just work with direct radio voice. So they just have like their radios on a static station where there's no sweeping involved or anything like that. So literally a dead frequency where there is no radio. And that's how they've always done ITC experiments there. And, at the end of the day, there's still going to be people out there that say, well, it's still radio and you don't understand, how the waves can be manipulated and work and so forth, which, I think DRV or direct radio voice probably has more credibility, so to speak, than just regular ghost boxes, because you're not introducing all those additional fragments of sound and resonance. And so, basically, Prism is a way of taking that direct radio voice technique and just ditching the radio, and it's way more complicated than that. But it is just totally enclosed, closed system. So it makes it really fascinating. But it's you got to pay your dues. You got to pay homage to the people who who made it all possible. So always with a sense of reverence towards those people and the people that still do all that. I mean, it's still going on today. Ghost boxes are almost an American phenomenon, which I find interesting. Like no other real place in the world do they embrace the ghost box like the American paranormal investigator. And so these are things that I've been learning as I kind of took over ITC voices that I was not aware of. And so I found the whole history of the story just really fascinating.
I love that. And it is, people are like, oh, how do you investigate? Oh, European style. It's like, I like to use the Slovenian style. personally. I wonder if I wonder
I kissed
if
French. I kissed French. I talked to Ghost German, and
definitely kiss French. Or as we call it in my house, I kiss freedom. Freedom. I eat freedom fries and I freedom kiss
that's right.
people. People. Yeah, people. So I think I wonder, like when it comes to like further implementation of the PRISM device specifically, it kind of blows my mind thinking like, okay, well, what's on the horizon. And I do love, how you're referencing the past, because without the automobile there is no airplane, right? I mean, like, these are necessary steps in the evolution of a thing,
Yeah,
of a technology. And uh and to just ignore that is, I think it's foolish. And and so I do appreciate that. And I'm very excited to see what happens with Prism. And I'm excited as hell to be able to get in a room with it again.
yeah,
And, because I think my ears are getting a little bit better just with, the more and more you do it. But I think for me, I've always loved practical magic, right? And practical effects. And, like a flashlight turning on a desk, or something getting knocked off a table, or a door slamming, or things like that, right? I've always loved that practical paranormal.
mhm,
And um i've I've gotten into the devices more and more lately, even though it's not like I didn't naysay the devices. It wasn't that. I guess I preferred the practical paranormal, right?
mhm.
And but I'll tell you, the more and more I get around the Prism or the Gateway device, or the more I become enamored with it. And
Yeah,
uh, especially because of some of the results that, you and I have even had together,
yeah.
um, with some of these boxes. And so if somebody, let's just remind everybody, because I'm going to let you go because it's getting late where you're at.
Sorry.
It's the Haunted America Conference. So it's on the
Yes.
21st or the 21st and 22nd.
The well, okay. So the conference officially starts on Friday, the 20th.
Oh, the
There
20th. So
is
Prism is Saturday.
Prism is Saturday evening at the Mineral Springs, but you got to get your ticket through the I think it's ghostconference.net is where people can get online to reserve their tickets and everything. So there is an event going on Thursday night at Troy's new American Oddities Museum, which is at the Mineral Springs. And then there's also like a breakfast thing on Sunday if people are interested in that. But all the information's on the website.
Yeah, I love oddity shops.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I
Well,
love them.
that's where we got cut off. I was telling you, I was donating my skeleton to the
That's right.
oddity. Yeah,
That's right.
so super excited about that.
Yeah, I'd love
So
to just do a tour of oddity shops and bookstores.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
um, yeah. So I'm excited that I'm finally getting the skeleton out of my house. I know my wife's probably thrilled with that as well. But this is like a dream for me because I wanted it to be able to tell a story and educate people. I didn't want it in a drawer in some college. So this is really cool for me that I finally found it at home. So that's cool. I just got to drive a dead body across a couple states. No biggie.
no
Uh,
biggie. That's really
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Wow. You got to have like a Weekend at Bernie's send off for it
Well,
before
I'm
you
going to take
take
it to a dispensary.
it. Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
Matt,
so we got to make a plan though for when Prism is officially out and launched for Josh and I to come on the pod at the same time and do a live Prism session on your show.
oh,
And
well, hell yeah.
we have Prism hooked up now to where we can make that happen because Josh and I can run Prism, here where I am in California, and Josh hear it in real time with full thing on his end. So we can make that happen with you, I'm pretty sure.
That would be rad. And I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to be in California as long as I thought,
Right.
because I could have just boogied over there. But yeah, well,
Oh, yeah, we can get together with my end if you're going to be this way and do the pod that way and just bring Josh in.
That I think that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
I think people would enjoy that, and I might even be able to source some questions beforehand.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
No, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I love that idea. God, Joshua, we are talking about you. I know your ears are ringing, or your nose is itching, or whatever. What is it?
I think one of those is somebody walks in your grave. I'm not for sure.
Oh, okay. Your butt
ears are burning.
Ears are burning. Your butt is squiggling. Yeah. Okay. Well, Matt, this has been great. Let's remind people about ITC Voices and all that good stuff.
Yeah, ITC Voices, a long-standing website concerning all things educational and ITC based that I'm kind of revamping. So itcvoices.org, and then to follow PRISM and its developments. My website is obscuravox.com or obscuravoxitc.com, and also, of course, Zero G ITC on all the different platforms of social media to, tie into the master himself, and everything that he's doing is just wild. I mean, every so many weeks he's doing different types of experiments on his live feeds that he does on Saturday nights. So Joshua is definitely someone to watch, because I have a hard time keeping up with him as much as he's experimenting with, and he's a madman in a good way. Yeah,
the man behind the code, and behind the code curtain. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to link all that in the show notes, so people will be able to just click on websites. So fear not, listener, you'll be able to just click away and get to Obscuravox and all that good stuff. Well, Matt, thanks for doing this last second, buddy. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, it's fun. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you too. And I'll be seeing you real soon, you bastard.
All right, sounds great.
Okay, love you, buddy.
Hey, love you, pal. See ya.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right.
Hi everyone, it's Nigel again. I don't have to tell you this, but Ryan did not properly allocate his microphone for the Matthew Jackson conversation through Zoom. He didn't just simply click the button, the drop-down menu, that would have allowed for Zoom to use the very nice microphone that he purchased with funds. Oh, it's the industry standard, it's top of the line microphone, and Ryan didn't use it. I don't know what to tell you other than he keeps making these technical mistakes. That make it impossible for me as the producer and editor of the podcast to make a seamlessly pleasant audio experience for the listeners. My apologies. I'll take about 2% of the blame for not reminding him that he had to do it. I have you on mute, Ryan. That's why no one can hear you, not even me. So let's get back to the program. I'm sure Ryan's going to put a bow on this. I'm not sure exactly what else he has to say. But here it is.
Nigel, you got to stop muting me. I mean, I'm serious. Okay, yes. Okay, fine. I didn't realize I didn't have the microphone set up for Zoom. My apologies to the listeners, but I think it was worth it, because the insight from Matthew Jackson is always, it's always welcomed, and it's always delightful. Man, we could talk about PRISM all night long, because what a mind-blowing device. Haunted America Conference. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, make the trip. I'm going to do my damnedest to be there. I might be leaving too late to get there, but I might be able to. I don't quite know yet, because there's lots of things happening. I mean, wouldn't you love to go to the Philosophical Research Society and watch a live podcast recording with my buddies Jim Perry, Daniel Noah, and Elijah Wood, talking about non-human intelligence being and its role in the film industry and television? I mean, that is happening a week from this Friday at the PRS. And Manly P. Hall is my guy. He's my guy. And I've never been inside. I've never stepped foot inside the PRS, the Philosophical Research Society. So maybe I delay my trip so I can go and just be a giddy audience member watching a brilliant conversation with some really brilliant minds. Now, I was talking about something before this all happened, and it's all been a whirlwind. I don't remember exactly. The world is opening up to the paranormal, and I think PRISM is going to do a job of kicking that door open just a little bit wider for belief to seep through to more and more people, because I think the results can be profound and potentially even mind-changing, if not life-changing. So it'll be fun to watch that unfold here in the near future. Also, I've got a conversation that I'm queuing up with a philosophy professor that I cannot wait to bring that to you. That's going to be very, very soon. And boy, what a bonkers situation that led to this conversation. The conversation that we're going to have is something that I never, how it came upon or how it came about. I got to tell you, I never would have predicted or been able to guess something like this would lead to a conversation. I'm very excited to talk to this person. We haven't had it scheduled yet, so I don't want to get your hopes up too much, but it's going to happen hopefully very soon. So just as a reminder, tomorrow night, which will be June 5th, 2024, I will be doing a live stream around 11:30 Pacific Coast time, probably 11:30, and from the Brookdale Lodge in the Santa Cruz Mountains. That'll be on YouTube only, because that's one where I can do like a private link. So maybe I'll be doing like YouTube, Twitch, or whatever, but it's going to be private for paid Patreon members. So all the patrons, thank you very, very much. Hey, and if you're a free patron, go, or you can be a free patron too, and you'll get stuff every once in a while. That's all right. Maybe I change my mind at the last minute and I just say for free patrons too. And then I'll work hard to convert you in the funnel to being a paid subscriber. I've just decided any patron member, free or paid. Now I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the paid patrons. They're like, what am I paying for if you're giving all this stuff away for free? Hey, I've been so sporadic in posting. We're going to do it for anybody who's over on the Patreon page, even the free ones. You'll get the link. So, and I don't know. It could be a 30-minute investigation. It could be 2 hours. I don't even know if it's going to be a proper investigation. I'm going to have all my gear, though. You know that. I'm going to have all my stuff. And I don't know what that means, but DNA will be with me, and I believe my buddy Nick will be with me. So, and then the show's on Thursday. Anyway, RyanSingerComedy.com. It's got tour dates. I'll be performing in a city near you, hopefully. And in the meantime, I hope you take care of yourself. Go out there and experience nature if you're able to. I hope you're able to in some way, shape, or form while the weather is nice in these 4 or 5 months of the year. I hope you're getting in touch with the things that bring you joy. Find your joy stations, as Joseph Campbell would say. My joy stations, one of them, well, I've got multiple joy stations: baseball card shops, hiking trails, the beach, hot tubs, pools, ice cream shops. Oh, lots of joy stations. So, I hope to see you at a live show. And I'll be linking everything that Obscuravox and all that stuff too, itcvoices.org. So check the show notes for those links. And if I don't see you at a live show this summer or this fall or this winter, I'll just see you at the astral plane on the water. Yeah, I'll see you at the astral plane on the watering hole. Wouldn't that be it? That would be a neat trick. I'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane.